Hello and welcome to a brief sort of impressions video of Death Stranding 2. I, as always, am Jorin Lee, your host. Let's just get right into it, right? Death Stranding 2. It's amazing. Can't recommend it enough. It really feels like, in some ways, a return to form for Kojima. So I just jotted down a couple of just thoughts about the game. I've only played for about 5 or so hours. And, I really barely even just started, but I think I've already seen enough to be able to provide just my initial impressions and so on. So yeah, the first thing that jumped out to me is one of the co-writers of this game is Shuyo Murata, who was one of the co-writers of MGS 5, The Phantom Pain, and that's a huge deal for me. And right away, I could just sort of feel the writing's a little tighter. There's something about... Like, if you notice, like, in the very beginning of the game, they give you these, like, the story so far kind of a thing, which, of course, is a nod to Police Knots. And it just has that concise sort of writing style that we got just, like, right away. That we got, in Ground Zeroes when it would tell you the previously on sort of section at the beginning of that game, right? So, and not just the writing, but I feel like the performances are a lot stronger. Personally, I think Leia Sadu, who plays Fragile, is a great actor. But I don't. In the first game, it almost doesn't feel like the director gave her very much to go off of. And in this one, it feels like she has a better sense of her character and so forth. Sorry. It opens really strongly. I mean, really strongly, and it has this amazing technology in the very first part of it that I could not believe until I saw somebody else actually replay it, where the opening theme, like the music, sort of depends on like how fast you're going and whether you're using like the ridge to run or you're just like standing still. Like the more you start to pick up steam, like the more the drums come in, and it's an amazing moment. And even like the credits, the opening credits, they also sort of like seem to wait for you to like, if you stop, like they'll take a sec, and they're just sort of adjust to your like play style in a weird way. So that was really cool. Huge Peace Walker influence here, as well as stuff. I mean, I jotted down Solar Boy Django, the second Boktai game, which was like sort of a spaghetti western style. And this, at least in the opening hours or whatever, is extremely western coded, I guess you could say. And in that sense, it is sort of a post-apocalyptic western a la the movie El Topo, or of course Mad Max, whose director George Miller is in the game. I guess the depiction of Mexico in the game is really interesting. It gives Death Stranding a kind of a vacation simulator kind of feel that feels sort of like it's taking inspiration a little bit from let's see, what games did I put down? Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the GTA series, or Persona. Just in the sense of how whenever you play those games, when they're at their best, you kind of feel like you're on vacation. It's that sort of feeling. And of course, because of the setting and everything else, like how can you not compare it to Red Dead Redemption 1, which was sort of set in a similar, albeit much more fictionalized. Well, they're both extremely fictionalized versions of North America. But yeah, I was thinking a lot of Red Dead 1 and the new Dune series. There feels like a lot of visual sort of nods to that as well. I also thought of MGS3 and its teeming wilds, and of course Zelda's Breath of the Wild, because now they've added not only like actual animals and stuff like that, but just like there's a sense of presence that you get when you play the game that's really incredible. It at one point I just looked up at the stars and everything just felt so peaceful in a weird way, and it really gives you perspective, I guess, on your very very tiny place in the universe, kind of a vibe. And yeah, it's a really, I guess you could call it a romantic game in the sense that just like nature is just like overflowing, like in some cases literally everywhere you turn. And there's a lot, I should say, a lot of MGS5 in this. Like at first I thought it was just going to be the Afghanistan portion of MGS5 that influenced this, but no, I mean the way the like mules like have their bases positioned like along the river. I don't know. There's shades of both parts of MGS5 here, like the Africa and the Afghanistan portion, and the inclusion of like this glossary that you can access pretty much any time, even in cutscenes, reminds me a lot, of course, of the glossary in Police Knots, which it seems to be basically modeled on. As well as, in MGS4, when you have a flashback and you tap X to sort of like remember it, they have something like that now. Yeah, it just feels like Kojima has even said himself in interviews this, where the original was about establishing the rules of the universe, and sort of he's made the comparison to how Alien became Aliens, and it does have that kind of like transition from sci-fi borderline horror game at times, which is what the original Death Stranding was, to now a much more of a robust sort of sci-fi action game. And I think that that's a really good move. Death Stranding 1 comparatively felt more dead and gray. This game is super colorful, vibrant, and alive. Pretty much, to sum up what I've seen of the game, as far as how it compares to Death Stranding 1, pretty much every feature that was in the original game has been dramatically improved. And they've definitely put a lot more Metal Gear Solid in this. Like there's even like this cool mode that I saw where it's like the heat map, and it basically shows you where other players were spotted in the mule's base, like if you use the camera to scan. There's just and of course there's VR missions and training missions and stuff like that as well, which they've just really built on, just as like the director's cut of Death Stranding really built on the foundation of the original game. This builds on the director's cut and expands it even further. Just everything about it has this like iconic almost, and it's easy, obviously I see it that way because I'm such a huge Kojima fan, but it just feels like more of a stylistically realized world and that sort of a thing. I also found myself being reminded of Mass Effect 2, and the way that Mass Effect 2 just improved on Mass Effect 1 and made it more of a robust action game and more of a like colorful science fiction world. It's sort of like that transition. I'd say that your moment-to-moment gameplay feels a lot more like being an astronaut in Death Stranding 2, like you're exploring another world. And I can tell that the game is already setting up, it's going to be a whole commentary on some level about colonialism and stuff like that, because they've got characters named Magellan and so forth, but I'm just going to have to wait to see what that's about. Yeah, the action is much more polished, along with pretty much everything else. The stealth is quite a bit better, and there's just something about how the like enemy bases and so forth are laid out that's much more satisfying. It feels more like, I don't know why, I haven't exactly figured out why yet, but it just feels more like Phantom Pain, where you got all these different like entrance points and exit points and different ways to approach it. Oh, and that's the other really cool thing is depending on your specialization, this is kind of a callback, I'm almost positive, to Metal Gear Solid 3, because in one interview I remember reading back in the day, Kojima pointed out, some players spent the very first couple hours of the game collecting animals, and others fighting the enemy, and others sneaking around. And so in Death Stranding 2 they've sort of factored that in, so now the thing that you do the most of, that you get the most like experience in, when you leave something down for other porters to see, your title as a porter will change. So if you're really stealthy, it'll say stealthy porter, or if you're like you get in a lot of fights, I guess it'll say brave. Or there's like several ones that yeah, it just depends on what your thing is. And the more you play the game, the more that it like reflects how you like to play. There, as I haven't gotten, like I said, I've barely even started the main story, but it's already got a lot of Metal Gear Solid in it, because it's like an AI is running the country basically, or we don't really know what's going on with who's running the country, but at least I don't yet. But there's this huge AI system that's like basically automated or systematized everything that bridges used to do. It's sort of like taken over for bridges. And yeah, it's named after the computer from 2001: A Space Odyssey that goes crazy. So it's clearly being set up for another sort of dystopian thing. And one small little detail that I really liked is that, you know, there's just a lot of quality of life things. You can now mark enemies, which is great. Every piece of cargo has a 3D image in the menu, and for me, that makes the deliveries feel like they're more real for some reason. And yeah, just overall, the game, like the vibration and everything, I don't really understand it, but it makes it very addictive to play, which is why I'm going to get back to playing right after I make this. So forgive me if this is not, I guess this isn't really a video essay. It's just me talking at you. It's more of a impressions or review. So I know that's kind of different from what I normally do, but I just wanted to let you guys know, you know, how I thought of what I thought of the game at this stage. And I'll keep you posted with more updates as I go on. But yeah, so far, I think I can confidently say that Death Stranding 2 seems like an improvement on its predecessor pretty much in every way. And I think it's going to be a huge success. So we'll just have to see. Until next time, boss.